Hello, welcome back to Mark's House and Garden UK. I have been having a bit of a strange year this year, and a lot of the jobs that I intended doing or wanted to get done this year I've just not got round to doing yet because of circumstances beyond my control. I mean, that's not to say I've done nothing, I've done quite a bit, but a lot of the things I wanted to do have fallen by the wayside. It's just been one of those years. And then you wake up one morning and you come outside in the garden and you look mindfully and you realise that it's suddenly gone bonkers. For example, behind me is my exotic tropical jungle garden, and it's full of those large leaved jungle plants. So in this video, I'm going to reacquaint myself with this border and reacquaint you with this border, and at the same time tell you about my 5 favourite large leaved plants for an exotic tropical jungle border. Now, I've been on YouTube for 4 years, and there are certain channels on YouTube which I've always rated. So I'm going to signpost 3 of my favourite gardening channels on YouTube. What I'd like you to do is signpost in the comments boxes below this video your favourite gardening channel. You have my permission to talk about any gardening channel on YouTube that you like watching so that we can all share together our favourite channels. I'll also give you a bit of a guided tour of the infill plants, the smaller plants that you'll see dotted in and around the large leaf ones. And whilst we're looking at these large leaf plants, and I'm going to start off with this one here, which many of you will recognise as the Tetropanex. I'm going to tell you what I like about it in particular, but also a potential pitfall with each plant, which you might need to be aware of if you want to go and buy it, but none of these pitfalls are insurmountable. Okay, so this is Tetropanex, or Tetropanex Rex, or I think they call it the Chinese rice paper plant. And what I love about it are these huge palmate leaves. Palmate, I think, because it resembles the palm of a hand. And look how big it is. This has put all this growth on this year, and I've already cut off 5 leaves of equivalent size to that. It's a beautiful jungle looking plant, and I just love it. So that's Tetropanex. Sometimes people call it Tetropanex Rex. There are different varieties. I think this is a Rex, but I may be wrong, because the garden centre that I bought it from could not confirm one way or the other. Right, what are the potential pitfalls? Well, one, it can be very invasive. It sends out runners, and a plant this size could pop up 3 metres away from the original plant, and you might think, well, that's wonderful, because I'd love more of those, but just so that you're aware. The other thing is, it's hardy, but in order to maintain the height and help the trunk survive the winter, I protect the trunk. So I wrap that trunk in some fleece so that it's protected from the worst cold of the winter, so that hopefully the growth starts off up here. Now, if you can't protect your trunk, it might well die back. That's what's happened here on this one. It's died back to there, but it has sprouted from down here, and that's where it hadn't died back. And if it dies back all the way to the ground, it will sprout up. And if you want it to send out runners, apparently what you're supposed to do is just disturb the soil around the roots, and that will stimulate it into producing runners. So there we go, Tetropanex. I did go through a phase of worrying about this plant because it is supposedly quite invasive. But at the moment, I'm in love with it again and at peace with it. Look at the size of those leaves, and they're not at full size yet. So that's Tetropanex. Incidentally, if you like this garden furniture, I got it from a company called Bridgman. I'm not getting paid commission. I don't have any incentive to say this, but I really like it. I bought it with my retirement money, and I'll put a link to Bridgman in the description box below this video, just in case you're interested in that. My next large leaved plant is this, towering above me, a banana plant, the Musa Basju, the hardy green banana, or the Japanese hardy green banana. I'm 6 foot tall. I guess I'm reaching 9 foot tall, so that's probably 15 foot tall. It's about 3 years old, this one. It's been in the ground here. In fact, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 specimens here. And they also produce pups around the bottom. So I've got 2 or 3 baby ones at the base of this large one. It will eventually produce fruit, but they do say once it's produced fruit, it dies back, and then you have those pups which replace it. That's apparently nature's way. I've never experienced that. But just look at these wonderful leaves. I think they're probably 4 or 5 feet long, huge, big leaves, all this year's growth. Now this, apparently, is a large herb. And the trunk is not really a trunk. It's a stem. It's a pseudo trunk. And it's made up of all the leaves compacted together. So getting back to the downside of this plant is it is hardy in the UK. But because that's mainly water and cellular mass, if it freezes in the winter, it will die back to the ground and you'll lose this height. So what I do every winter is I build a construction around it and pack it with insulation. And so I'm protecting the trunk, once again, like the Tetropanex, and protecting the size so that it starts growing from up here every year, not down there. And that's how you get that height. So there you go, Musa Basjoo, the hardy green banana. And look at the canopy, wonderful. And now another downside potentially, depending on your point of view, is the fact that the leaves will strip into tatters. I think that's an adaptation in nature to stop the plant blowing over. It lets the wind through. Personally, I like that because that's how you see them when you go to places like Barbados, where you see these plants in their natural environment. That's happened because the wind comes over the roof of the cottage next door. Musa Basjoo, the hardy green banana. Now, my next large leaf plant is behind me, and it's a dark plant against a dark background, so I might have to do something funky with the exposure on the camera to tell you about this plant. And I think the answer really is to just get hold of the camera and take the camera into the shade so that you can see what I'm talking about. This is the Ethiopian Red Banana, or the false banana, or Ensete ventricosum morellii. And look at it, beautiful deep red leaves tucked in the back there, in the ground, in the shade. And look at that. Now this specimen is around about 3 feet tall. But this, if I protected it correctly, would grow equally as large as that Musa Basjoo there. And what I love about that is the big leaves and the contrasting red stalks. Can you see them there? Again, almost entirely made up of cells containing water. So that is the Ensete ventricosum morellii. Now, sometimes it's difficult to pronounce these plants, so I will type them up in the description box below. And it shoots out new leaves with alarming regularity, and they just get bigger and bigger. And there's a video on my channel of this plant when I had a super large specimen and the leaves were 7 foot long. Wonderful. Look at that red stripe there. Now this is not the red stripe leaf banana. This is Ensete ventricosum morellii. Now you may or may not be able to see that banana plant tucked away in the shade at the back of this border. It depends how well my camera is behaving. It's got a mind of its own, that camera. Hope you can see it. Beautiful specimen, deep red leaves. What's the downside? Well, it's just not hardy. It won't survive a UK winter. So every autumn I would need to dig that up and take it indoors and hope that it makes it through the winter. Some people replant them into dry compost. Other people take all the soil off the roots and hang them from rafters and just let them dry out. And then when they get replanted in the spring, fingers crossed, they grow back. And I have had some success of doing that over a period of 4 years. And then on the 5th year, my huge super large specimens just decided to die on me. So you've got to factor in a sense, that it is high maintenance, and sometimes it will just give up on you for almost no reason that you can work out, and you lose one of your favourite specimen plants. And if you can stomach that idea, It's well worth having. It might be an idea to just buy a new one every spring and enjoy it like a bunch of flowers for the springtime. And then have a go at overwintering it indoors, because what have you got to lose? But have low expectations. And seti, ventricosum morellii, the Ethiopian banana, the false banana. There will be purists who just don't like my next plant and don't agree that it should be in a jungle garden. And it's this one here, Batsia Japonica. Very hardy, almost bulletproof. This was a foot tall 12 months ago. And as you can see, it's growing large, got big, large palmate leaves. What I like about it is you can raise the canopy, you can take the leaves off the trunk, and it just creates a nice canopy like that. And then you can plant shade-loving plants beneath it. I think it likes a bit of shade, but it will live in sunny conditions. In fact, here is pretty much full sun, and you can see it's doing really well. It doesn't take a lot of maintenance. That's one of the things I like about it. And you've got all year round structure because it's evergreen. What's the negative about the Batsia Japonica? Well, I don't think there is one from my point of view. It's just that a lot of purists of jungle gardens don't really like it, but I really rate it. So now I'm back in the shade of the Tetropanex, which is above my head, and underneath it is my fifth large leaf plant. And I've just realised that there is a sixth one that I want to tell you about. So I'm going to give you a bonus large leaf plant, but it's over there in my fernery garden. Come back to that in a second. Number 5 is a canna. Way back behind here, there is a canna plant. And there is a bit of a negative with cannas at the moment, but notwithstanding that, I still love them. And this is Canna Musifolia. Now, it does produce flowers. I have been corrected on that several times. So yes, it does produce flowers, but the main reason I think for keeping the Canna Musifolia is its extraordinary leaf size. The leaves can go huge and it grows very quickly. So by the end of the summer, that will be 6 foot tall and probably almost as high as the Tetropanex that is behind. So it does create a beautiful backdrop. Now, the negative about cannas, in my opinion at the moment, is there is a canna virus going around, and evidently there is no cure. And I did do a whole video on canna virus. I will link to it below this video. It doesn't transfer to other plants, but apparently if you get canna virus in one canna in your border, it very easily transfers to other cannas. So again, cannas, potentially see them as a disposable plant. Give it a chance, take a risk. This canna has been in the ground for the last 4 years, and indeed it has overwintered, which is unusual for cannas apparently, but I'm in a very sheltered courtyard here. So Canna Musifolia, another large leaved plant. Now, before I go round to the bonus, number 6 large leaf plant, I want to signpost those 3 gardening channels which I enjoy watching. And you probably already follow them, but what I would really encourage you to do is, if I've not mentioned one of your favourites, please do mention it in the comments below this video. Let's share the love and the enjoyment. So I'm going to go for George's Jungle Garden. I'm going to go for Yorkshire Chris, who has plants of an exotic nature over in Yorkshire, and Peter Entwistle. So I will link those 3 channels in the description box below this video. And of course, you can put your favourite gardening channels, and I know there are lots and lots of gardening channels, in the comments. Right, the next thing is that 6th large leaf plant, and then a very quick overview of the other plants which I have in this exotic tropical jungle border. So the other plant I'm going to tell you about is here in my fernery. You can see the jungle garden behind me, and it extends out into the fernery here. Incidentally, that's one of the leaves off the Tetropanex which I've just snapped off because it was getting in the way when I was walking past. This is the plant I want to tell you about. Look at the size of these leaves on these hostas. Huge, big hostas. And of course, hostas come back every year and they produce all this wonderful foliage. The problem with hostas, of course, is they are supposed to be susceptible to slug and snail damage. This particular variety and another variety which has large leaves, which is just below it, are supposed to be slug and snail resistant. Although I can see some slug and snail damage, but it's nowhere near as bad as it can be. So these are Jurassic Park and Empress Woo. But if you just Google slug snail resistant hostas, you'll get a variety to choose from. These are here because of their particularly large leaves. And look at these flowers. Can you see those lovely flowers? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 flowers. These have been producing flowers. I can see a bee on that one getting busy collecting nectar. So a bonus large leafed plant. I'm going to take you back into the exotic tropical jungle border, give you a very quick helicopter tour of my other plants in that garden. So this little portion of the video will be like the flight of the bumblebee as I come out of my kitchen into the fernery. And over there is the exotic tropical jungle garden where we're headed. This is the fernery, tree ferns, little water feature, circular patio, windy path. You can see videos on all these things on my channel if you just search keywords in the search bar. But the point is, let's get back to the exotic tropical jungle garden. This is where the fernery ends here at that large tree ferns. Plenty of guides to tree ferns on my channel. And then it becomes the exotic tropical jungle border. The difference between the two is there's a lot less light over there. And we have direct sunlight and light over here. I'll just wait for that camera to focus back in again. And there we have is a little tree fern. The wall is bathed in passion flower. Look at these flowers on these. They're incredible. They're like aliens from another planet, I think. And that's a very invasive plant, so do be careful if you decide to put a passion flower in your garden. Down here is a eucalyptus bicolour. Bicolour because, as you can see, two different coloured leaves, chocolate and green. Some people call it eucalyptus, and there's another way of pronouncing it, which is eucomis. I say eucalyptus. Down there, colocasia pink china because it's got pink stalks and it's hardy. It comes back every year. There's a canna, another canna, a different type of canna, not the Musifolia. Here we have a ginger plant. I am going to need to stake those to give them some support, and they will be producing lovely flowers in the very near future. There's that Batsia Japonica I told you about, and here is another Tetropanex. There's the big one. And this is another one. Now this one came as a runner from another Tetropanex that was there, which I moved, so that's a free plant for me. Batsia Japonica. There's the Ensete, the red banana, Ensete ventricosum morellii. Underneath here, I made the mistake of planting a red hot poker. It's never going to do well in the shade. Little spiky leaves. Now, what's that one called? Remind me, because I can't remember. Dragon. Oh, crikey, it's gone from my mind because I'm talking. I'll come back to it. It's on the tip of my tongue. You will probably know what that's called. Very invasive. Pink china, another canna, and then your Musa Basju, and then again some more pink chinas down here. I love these little pink chinas because they just keep popping up every year, and they've got this lovely, delicate pink stalk on them. And I've also just bought these, by the way, these little shepherd's hooks, which I'm hanging some. These are actually for indoor houseplants. I'm hanging those on there, and I'm going to put citronella candles in them. Right. I still can't remember the name of that big purple plant in the corner. And you'll have to forgive me because sometimes when you're holding the camera, walking and talking, things just don't come to mind. Hope you've enjoyed that video. Don't forget to signpost your favourite gardening videos. Police helicopter just going over as I am trying to talk. Wonderful. And I'll see you soon. Bye for now.